Welcome to Computer Retro Bus. In today's episode, we are looking at this. This is the Lucky Star 5V1A, which is a socket 7 motherboard. So most likely it's going to be a Pentium or something like that running in there. So this is something I grabbed off Facebook Marketplace and I'll finally have the chance to test it. And let's see if we can get it up and running. Stick around. So I do love finding motherboards when the RAM and everything is in there because someone's had this working before. So that's always a good sign. Sometimes it's hard to find RAM, or you might have the different voltage RAM, but this is the RAM that came with it. So it's like, great, I'll leave that alone, and the CPU in it. So I assume this was a working system at some stage. So it shouldn't be too difficult to get it working again. So let's have a closer look at the board and what we're working with. So this is a socket 7 system, and the CPU can be anything from Pentium to a Cyrix to an IBM to an AMD K6. Yeah, it could take, the socket 7 just took so many different CPUs. So 2 different RAM types as well. It can take EDO or SDRAM. I'm glad it's got SDRAM because it is much faster. So that's excellent. So I've got 4 PCI slots and 3 ISA. I don't have the breakouts though, so we'll see how we go with that. This was also had the cache built in. So these are all cache chips. And we see that we've got a VIA chipset. Otherwise, everything looks pretty good. Obviously, this is way before the capacitor plague, so all the caps are looking good. The reason I couldn't test it right away when I got it was the power. It takes the old school power, not the ATX power that we know. It takes AT. So, and I don't have an AT power supply. You can get a converter. So this is what they look like. Plug an ATX into that, and it converts it to AT. Calls that. Now, AT didn't have soft power, so you have to get a switch. The old ka-chunk, click, off, on. Yeah, so these come with the power connectors, and they'll always have 2 cables that you need to connect to a switch. I'll get that all connected up. I'm gonna need a video card. Now, along with this bunch, I did have a video card that came with it. Classic Trio 64 from S3. These were everywhere. Great, reliable card. Doesn't have the RAM expansion, unfortunately, but that's all cool. I love the old school PCB on this. How cool does that look? Look at that. Really nice. Get that plugged in as well, but first things first, this fan looks really dusty, so I'll take that off. Let's have a look at what CPU we got as well. Okay. All right. I'll flip that image so it looks like an IBM 686 MX PR200. So this was actually a Cyrix chip that they, got IBM to fab for them. Yeah, so PR200, so Pentium rating, 200 megahertz. So this should be equivalent to a Pentium 200 with MMX, I assume, since the MX is at the end of it. So pretty cool. What I'll do is clean this fan up because it's looking pretty dusty. All right, so get this fan off. Oh God, even the screws got dust all over. Look at this. Okay, yeah, so it's a bit dusty. I'll go get a brush. It's got a little thermal pad. I'll just leave it with that. These CPUs didn't get that hot. They didn't need, Arctic silver or anything like that. This was good enough. Okay, that's looking much, much better. Okay, so let's get this guy back on there. Always nervous getting these things back on. Don't want to scratch or chip any ICs or parts on here. There we go, all good. First things first, we'll get the power on. So here's my ATX connector, my AT converter. So I'll just plug that in. Okay, switch. All right, so golden rule. Do not make this mistake. The 2 blacks are always in the middle. Okay, so let's get our awesome S3 Trio 64. Now, the thing about these socket 7 boards is everything, all the I/O was a breakout box. This was before ATX, where you had the keyboard, mouse, USB, all that sort of stuff just on that. All you have is a keyboard. that is it, my friends. Everything else is a breakout. So the COM ports, PS2 if you have it, USB if you have it, all break out from this. Challenge I have, none of it came with the motherboard. So this, and apparently they're not universal. So I'm gonna have fun with that. Okay, so I'm gonna need a mouse. So I do need some sort of I/O. And as I said, I didn't get the breakout things, but I have one from another motherboard, so I can plug in a serial mouse. This is probably not recommended. These things are not universal. I've done some Google searching, so I don't know if it's going to work or not. I'll give it a go. This is usually the pink one is pin 1, and I can see pin 1 marked there. So I'll plug it into one, see how we go. Hopefully it works, so I can get a mouse. So yeah, you're gonna need a serial mouse. That's one of these guys. Long before PS2 and USB, this is what you had. All right, so I've plugged the little PC speaker in. If there's any errors, we'll know what it is with some beep codes. Okay, monitor on. I'll turn the power supply on back here. Let's see how we go. So here's my switch. Let's do it. Oh. Nope, nothing. Okay, I'm not sure if I turn the power supply off or on. Let's try again. Okay, take 2. Yes, we've got a spinning fan. Yes, we have video. Wonderful. RAM, 64 meg of RAM. Wow, that's a beast. Well, that's fantastic. All right, let's go into the BIOS. All right, I'm pumped. This is awesome. So glad that it's working. It's great to have another Socket 7 system in my collection that's running with the Cyrix CPU. How awesome is that? Just getting a lot of noise though. It doesn't seem to be this fan. It's the, I think it's this one. Yeah, it seems to be the power supply. But otherwise, it's all working. Power converter, switch that I've jerry-rigged, all work. All right, let's get some discs, sound card, and an operating system running on this bad boy. Yes. For a disk drive, I'm just gonna go the good old SD cards, IDE, never fails. And I also grabbed hold of a floppy disk drive so I can boot up and install an OS. We're definitely gonna need a sound card. Look at this. This was part of the lot, and I absolutely love this card. It's just an ESS688, but look at that circuit board. Remember this, these are classic resistors with the color codes and all. This is so cool. Now, none of that modern surface mounted stuff. This is retro. And I do wonder if this was hand soldered in, because I can see some of the pins are sort of off in angles. So yeah, don't know if it was handmade. Hope it was. I love these PCBs, that color. It's that beautiful emerald green. Got my got my SD card with the operating system ISO all copied on there. So all I need to do is plug it in, get a boot drive, boot it up, and start running the install files off the SD card. So what OS are we going for? Well, we have to go for Windows 95. Let's keep it period correct. So yeah, got my big bright Windows 95 boot disk. Let's get this show on the road. I love the sound of floppy drives, I really do. It just takes me right back to being a teenager again. There we go. Oh, I love this screen. The memories. Windows 95, what a revelation it was in its day. Okay, so I've got CPU Z up and running, so we can have a look at the processors that we got in here. As mentioned, it is a Cyrix 6X86 MX. And it looks like it's running at 150 megahertz, so 2 times a 75 megahertz bus. It is a PR200 rated CPU, so what they're trying to tell us, that it's equivalent to a Pentium 200 megahertz with MMX. And we can see it's got the MMX extensions. So here we are, after a fresh install. How good is this? If I go to Device Manager, everything is picked up. This is fantastic. Look, the display driver, the S3, is just tried and true. Everything's got drivers for it. And I'm also surprised that the ESS was picked up with no drivers required. How awesome is that? All right, let's install this classic Diablo. This was really cool back in the day because you can install the game, but if you wanted to do multiplayer, you could install a spawned copy on another machine. This was pretty cool. A lot of games had this, like I think some of the early Need for Speeds as well. So if you had multiple computers in your house, you could buy the one game, crazy, I know. These days, they don't have these sorts of options, but you just buy the one game and install a spawned copy on the other machines to play multiplayer. First time I ever played this was Warrior. Warrior was the classic, nice, easy way to play it. Rogue was a little bit tougher. Sorcerer, you really had to know what you were doing. Alrighty, down to the dungeons we go. I'm not sure if I have a weapon. I hope I do. This was one of the first multiplayer games I played. A friend of mine had 3 computers in his house. Him, his brother, and his dad. And they had it all installed, and we played this. And I thought, wow, this is awesome. Playing a network game. So yeah, first time I played this game was just, it just had me locked in. Like a lot of other people at the time, this was just such an amazing game. You know, a lot of people, it was smooth sailing for a while, and I think on the level 4 or 6, I can't remember, you face the Butcher. Oh, and he is such a tough enemy. In later playthroughs, I ended up actually skipping the Butcher, waited till I leveled up a bit more, then came back and tried to beat him. But yeah, what a awesome game. This really takes me back. Some great memories. This system handles this game very well. Everything's smooth, pretty quick. No lag at all. I didn't think there would be. This game isn't the most demanding. Not like it's 3D, or I don't have a 3D card anyway. But you know, for a 2D game, this was awesome. Great fun. Every once in a while, I'll load this back up and just do a full playthrough. Just takes me back. All right, let's get one of my old favorites. Starcraft installed. This was a brilliant game. Oh, I love this splash screen. How cool is this? Taking me right back. And this was a highly anticipated game when it was released. It was delayed a couple of times. Me and a couple of friends were really huge into Warcraft and Warcraft 2. And so then when Starcraft was announced, wow, we couldn't wait. And it was so close to being released, but then Blizzard cancelled it, said it needed more time. And seeing some of the early screenshots, I'm glad they did, because the early screenshots looked terrible. You know, this really was the golden age of real-time strategy. The genre's really fallen off, unfortunately. Oh, here we go. I'm under attack already. Let's have a look if we can hold off the attack. Micromanagement. Yeah, it's a real shame that the real-time strategy genre's completely died off now. You know, I guess StarCraft 2 is still going, and Warcraft 3 has had a big resurgence recently as well, which is fantastic. But as a whole, yeah, it's all FPSs now. They came from around here somewhere. Let's see if we can go to their base and pay them a visit. Got a feeling I'm going to get wiped out, but... Oh, man. Okay, there's a lot more of them than I expected. I think I'm in trouble. I think my army's going to get killed. Oh, no, my tank's gone. All right, it's all over. It's all over for me. I need a lot more practice. Not what I used to be. Surrender. Let's install Quake. Alright, put Quake up to 640 by 480, and you can see that it's struggling quite a bit. Which, you know, this is pretty high resolutions for this family of processors, but it is running it. Look at that. This is pretty damn good. I've had to put it up because 640 by 480 is the minimum resolution that my video capture card can do, unfortunately, so I can't do the classic 320 by 200. Okay, I'll put it down and just use my camera to record the screen. There you go, Quake 320 by 200. The classic resolution, look at it, it's running it really well. Very smooth. This was much faster than the CPU that I definitely had. It's AMD 133 megahertz, but you know, it was equivalent to a Pentium 75. Well, that's what they reckon, but I doubt it was even that, to be honest. So it was always the floating point that where it struggled. And this is where Intel really sold lots of CPUs because of this game, because it did better floating point calculations than the competition. But you know what? This is running really well with this. This is great. I must say I do love the classic, you know, pixelation. It is pretty cool. You saw how it ran at 640 by 480 and how it's just completely unplayable. But you know what? With the 3D accelerator, it ran faster than this at that resolution. They were just absolute game changers. There we go. Quake running on its natural hardware. Very cool. Okay, there we are. So it's all running. I'm so pumped. This is awesome. I'm so happy that it has worked. I've lost a little bit of hardware from that same haul. I'll make a link in the description. So this was a fantastic haul that I got from a guy that was moving house, and he just had a heap of hardware to take it all. So I'm glad that this is working. I'm definitely going to use this for a future build. Just need to find an appropriate case. I'm running a bit low when it comes to cases. So yeah, just need to find something to put this inside, and I really want to build a great little DOS/Windows 95 system. I think this is perfect for that. It'll run anything DOS you throw at it, will run perfectly fine. And also those early Windows 95. Good pushes to 98. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you want to support my channel, links are in the description. Thank you for everybody that does. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.